Welcome back to Top 8s, where we talk about the top 8 things about the things you don't know. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe. Why do I have to tell you that every single time? And today we're talking about the top 8 things that you don't know about Back to the Future 3. But first, some context. Carl Laemmle was born on January 17, 1867, in the German kingdom of Württemberg. He moved to Chicago, USA in 1884, and it was there where he opened one of the first movie theaters in 1906. And without this happening, Back to the Future 3 never would have come out. Now, in 1912, Carl and some pals of his, Mark Dinefas, Charles O. Bauman, Adam Kessel, Pat Powers, William Swanson, David Horsley, Robert H. Cochran, and Jules Boulator founded Universal Pictures. In 1915, they opened Universal City Studios production facilities in Los Angeles, California. The studio's early directors included John Ford and Lois Weber. In the earliest days of cinema, many of the world's directors were women, but by 1915, Lois Weber was one of the few who still remained. Her 1916 Universal film release, Where Are My Children?, tells the story of a district attorney who, while prosecuting a doctor for illegal abortions, finds out that society people, including his wife, have used the doctor's services. And that brings us to Back to the Future Part 3. As soon as we covered the fact that, due in part to the work of character actor Lon Chaney in the 1920s, who applied his practical monster makeup himself, and whose techniques are still not known to this day, Universal Pictures began to be known for its monster films. This legacy of horror was continued when Carl Laemmle's son, Carl Jr., became studio head in 1928 and produced such talkies as Dracula, The Mummy, and The Invisible Man. After being unable to pay back the company's very first loan in 1936, the Laemmle family was forced out of Universal.
Old Man River, that old man River, he must know something, but don't say nothing. He just keeps rolling, he keeps on rolling along.
The studio spent the remainder of the 1930s and much of the 1940s making low-budget schlock. The television boom of the 1950s brought further strain to the company, and it was eventually purchased by the Music Corporation of America, or better known as MCA, which brought some guy named Alfred Hitchcock Universal's way. Alright, now this has nothing to do with our presentation, but seeing this picture of Alfred Hitchcock, I know we're all thinking it, so just to get that out of the way, I'm gonna go ahead and open Photoshop, and I'm gonna take this picture, then I'm gonna take them from the original picture and put them in, and there we go. Now we can do things like this, or if we want to be a bit less topical, this. Alright, I'll put the link for that photo in the description so we can all have fun with it. Happy memeing! Now, back to our main point. Throughout the 1960s, Universal was largely involved in television production, but continued to make a notable film every now and then, such as Spartacus, To Kill a Mockingbird, and Charade.
Do we know each other? Why, do you think we're going to?
I don't know. How would I know?
Because I already know an awful lot of people, and until one of them dies, I couldn't possibly meet anyone else.
During the 1970s, Universal had some luck with a few of their films, most notably a shark film by first-time director and short shorts enthusiast Steven Spielberg. Jaws proved a big success to the company, and Steven Spielberg began producing films at Universal, separate from his directing responsibilities. It was he who championed these two guys named Bob and their script titled Back to the Future. Universal released the film in 1985, and it proved to be a great success. The sequel, Back to the Future 2, came out in 1989, and that leads us to the top 8 things you didn't know about Back to the Future 3. As soon as we established the context of what life has been like since that film came out. You might be surprised to learn that the world was a very different place back in 1990. A portable phone was a house phone that had no cord.
It's so convenient, everyone will love it. Janie can talk in privacy in her favorite place. Mark's friends can keep up with him on the go.
This was a portable music experience, and people back then still read paper newspapers like the garbage peasants that they were. But even though good TV like Friends was still a few years off, and even though everyone was exhausted from rollerblading around with their Walkman and a cassette tape collection, humanity decided to keep on chugging. Why? Well, Back to the Future 3, of course. And here's the top 8 things that you didn't know about it. Number 8. Michael J. Fox and Christopher Lloyd reprised their roles as Marty and Doc. Number 7. The film takes place in the Old West. How wild. Number 6. The 3 in the poster is all yellow, even though the 2 in the Back to the Future 2 poster does the orange to yellow gradient like any fucking normal person would do it. So I don't know why the 3 in this poster is like that, and it's driving me fucking nuts. And you know what? I'm not going to continue doing this until somebody fixes it. Fuck you.